Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Betholkis, and it's time for The Boys, Season 2, Episode 7, the penultimate episode of the season, Butcher, Baker, Candlestick Maker. Welcome, everybody. And let me take care of some business first, then we'll get to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching, tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up there just for you. And if you like that, hit that subscribe button. If you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule up there. I change it out every week. And also, I have all the links to my social media. So Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. No tiers set on the Patreon because I'm waiting until I hit 1,000 subs. Because if you're going to give me money, I want to give you guys something in return. I figured 1,000 was a good goal for that. I also have the link to this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. There we go. So let me take a little sip of water here. It's hotter than hell again today. Got my little mini fan going on over here and all kinds of stuff. So, spoiler alert, I'm going to spoil the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. All right. Yeah. So, yeah, we've only got one more episode after this. That's all we've got. One more episode. And then we're done for the season. Well, I'm still not sure if they're going to do a whole Butcher movie or if that 5-minute thing was the Butcher movie. So who knows what's going on there. But yeah, you know what? This has been good. I'm glad that they, put this out the way they did, even though the other little bitches out there didn't like, that it wasn't dumped all at once. I want one a week like this. This is perfect. It gives me a chance to digest it, to talk about it, and then we get to talk about it, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, pretty good stuff. So yeah, what's going on with this whole thing? We've got minds are blown in the Senate, quite literally. Starlight captured, Huey having to babysit, and Butcher meeting up with his father. So yeah, we've got all kinds of stuff going on in this. So I had a theory about this going on now. Back in episode 1, Raynor had, she meets up with the boys in the very first episode, and they're telling her about Kamiko's brother who's being smuggled aboard, being smuggled aboard a ship into the country, essentially a super terrorist, if you will. And she says, that actually, I think you just gave me the last piece of the puzzle of something I've been working on that I didn't know what was happening. And she goes, she says, I quote, now I got to put on my glasses, of course, because I can't read that. She says, it's a coup from the inside. And she's talking about Vought. And just before her head explodes, so her head kind of pops like a little grape, everyone screams and goes running. And we get this in this episode too, of people's heads exploding and stuff like that. And I'm having a feeling that Edgar is working with Alistair Adana from the Church of the Collective, and they have a soup that is can do that thing, pop people's heads. And Stan Edgar is trying to wrest control of Vought from Stormfront, who actually owns the company. That's what I think is going on. So yeah, because he had that little smile on his face when everything was kind of looking like it was going into the crapper, and I think he was liking that it was going into the crapper. But that is my theory on this. So going back to the episode here at hand, I mean, there's stuff in there that just was making me fucking laugh. The whole thing with Lamplighter watching porn, and it's all soup porn. The deep does it in the blowhole. There was also a little blurb from the comics too. If it was a blink and miss it thing, if you looked at the covers of the porn DVDs that he was looking at, there was Jack from Jupiter. So Jack from Jupiter was in the comics, and he was the boys' take on, of course, John Jones, Martian Manhunter. Yeah. By the way, if you want to watch some really hilarious porn titles, so Aisha Tyler does an after show for The Boys. It's also on Amazon, and it's up. And she did the top 10 porn titles. She came up with her own, and it's really fucking funny. So yeah, they did some good stuff. But yeah, the Big Black Noir. There was a lot of focus on cuckolding, which was, I guess if you're fascist kind of thing, that's what they were into, that kind of crap. So yeah, some really weird shit. So, did you see Cindy hitching a ride at the end of? Yeah, I did see that, Joe. We know that she's out there. We know that Cindy is out there. I actually mentioned it in last week's episode. But yeah, the whole thing with Lamplighter igniting himself on fire and being upset that they took down his statue. He sneaks Huey in because of course Starlight has been kidnapped, or not. Well, yeah, she's been kidnapped by Black Noir. Black Noir beats the crap out of her. First, he gasses her mom and everyone else in the coffee shop, knocks her out, and takes her to a room and puts her in room 42D. And then Huey's determined to bust her out and goes, of course, with Lamplighter, who's just basically there to kill himself. He was initially going to give some testimony, of course, to the Senate and help Victoria Newman out on all this stuff. And I'm still thinking, I also came up with another theory too, that Victoria Newman is working with the church of the collective as well. And that's why she's all of a sudden involved in all of this, and why she is so gung-ho on going after Vought and the soups and everything, is she's working with the Church of the Collective. There's lots of people, because Alistair Adana is right now, there's something off about him, and we're going to find out something big next episode. I know, for the season finale, there's going to be some fuckery that goes on, as as Billy would say. And speaking of Billy, I mean, we find out about his childhood a little bit more by the great John Noble playing his father, and the whole thing about that he was abused as a child. And you see the parallels between him and Homelander again in all of this, and how shitty of a childhood he and Lenny had. And we find out that Lenny actually killed himself, put a gun in his mouth, and shot himself. So yeah, we get all of that. And wow, man. I mean, there was a lot of stuff to unpack in all of this. Yeah, he was just toughening the boys up. Kajani says, I wonder if the Church of the Collective is going to be the next season big bad. Yeah, they definitely are. They're setting them up for this. There's no way they would bring in the actor that they did. And I'm blanking on his name right now. I got it up here. So, and there we go. Goran Viznik, who is great. He's a great actor. They would not bring an actor of his caliber into a small role if he was not going to be the big bad for the next season. And they're slowly but surely just kind of building him up. And I know that's what's going to happen there. So yeah, that's what's going to happen there. My favorite scene out of this, though, so we get Vogelbaum that comes back to Dr. Vogelbaum, and Mallory, of course, is trying to get him to testify before the Senate. And he's like, fuck that. He goes, I've got my kids to worry about. You should know, because your kids got wiped out when you tried doing this shit. And she's like, yep, he's right, and walks away. Butcher comes in and says, no, fuck all that. He goes, so what's going to happen is you're going to testify, or I'm going to go in the other room. I'm going to bash in the brains of your daughter. Then I'm going to go find your sons and their wives and their kids, and I'm going to kill your entire fucking family if you don't testify, is what he tells them. And the way he does it, and the way his face changes when the daughter walks in with tea, and he's got this, intense, like, I'm going to fuck you hard on this thing. And then his face just all kind of softens, and he accepts the tea, and the whole, drinking the tea. It's been great since I've had a lovely bit of char, as he says. And it's a great scene. I highly recommend you go back and just rewind it just to watch that little bit of acting right there. Yeah, it was really fucking brutal. And speaking of brutal, we got that brutal fight scene between Black Noir and in Starlight, the round 2, you know, back in the Seven's headquarters there, and that whole thing where she's just getting tossed around and and she's blasting him, and he finally has her and he's pinned her and he's choking her, and who saves her but Queen Maeve? And we find out why he doesn't like almond joys is because he has a tree nut allergy, a severe tree nut allergy, and she pulls back his mask and shoves some almond joy in his mouth. Does that mean he's dead? I don't know. He couldn't reach the EpiPen in time. He could still be alive. We don't know for sure. But yeah, Queen Maeve, and Starlight even says, "Hey, come with me." And she's like, nah, not going to do it because Queen Maeve, Elena now sees her in a different light. She knows what Queen Maeve has had to go through, but at the same time, she's terrified of her as well. And yeah, she's like, I see who you are. You finally shown me your true self, and I'm fucking terrified of it, and I'm leaving, is what Elena basically says to her. So, yeah, man. Kajadi says when Butcher drove to Vogel's yard had me dying. Yeah. Oh man. Really, really, really good stuff. So at the end of all of this, of course, we have the Senate hearing that's going on, and Vogelbaum comes in and he's going to testify because, of course, Lamplighter was going to be their first testify, but he burned himself up. And Vogelbaum wheels himself in, and we see the senator, and not Newman, by the way, the senator who's doing the questioning. His head pops first, then Vogelbaum's, then there's just random people whose heads are popping. People are screaming and running, and it's on C-SPAN, and probably the most exciting thing that was ever on C-SPAN, quite honestly. And people are slipping in blood, heads popping. And the reason why I say the Church of the Collective is behind of all of this is because Adana was telling A-Train and the Deep how he was going to get them back on the 7. And of course, Shockwave has already taken A-Train's place, and Shockwave was at the meeting or at the hearing, and his head pops. Why would his head pop? He's got no reason to die unless the church is behind all of this. So, yeah, that's kind of what led me down that road, because Alistair O'Donnell was telling them that he was going to meet with Stan Edgar, that he had a meeting with him, and I'm pretty sure that's what this is all about. Yeah. Who is the head popper then? It's some soup that's probably under the Church of the Collective, and I'll bet you dollars to donuts that Starlight knows who he is, or he or she is, because most likely it was probably a church circuit. And that's why that person, that soup, is probably in with the Church of the Collective. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that was the only how I could figure out how they did that. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Eagle the Archer, Kajani, and the video of him hunting down. Well, he wasn't hunting down, it was his partner. And supposedly he would hunt him and mount him, is what it was. And dressed in a deer costume, which, what they meant by mount him was a little different story. So, yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's one of the Capes for Christ. Yeah, because they keep bringing that storyline back in. And like I said, Kripke and I actually share a brain sometimes, so I know what was going on there. Yes, Eagle was a furry. That's what the whole thing was supposed to be, was that Eagle was a furry. There was a lot of other tones in this episode. So we got Lamplighter dead, Black Noir possibly dead, although I don't know if he is or not, because he could have gotten that EpiPen in time. Who knows? And everyone is now at the pawn shop. So Starlight's there, Starlight's mother's there. Pretty much everyone's there now at this point. Yes, Lamplighter's severed hand too. That whole thing where Huey breaks the bottle and then he snaps the arm, breaks the bottle, and he's cutting off the hand. And after he gets the hand, he just looks back at the body and goes, "Fuck you, dude." He walks away, which was a very Huey thing to do, just like, "Fuck you, man." Um, that was a funny part, especially when he opens up Starlight's mother's cell, and she's like, "You're that sweaty man from the from the church thing." And she goes, "Is that a severed human hand?" And he goes, "Yeah, it is. Come with me." Yeah. Yeah. Yes, he was burned from the first episode in this season. So when he, well, multiple times actually. So he survived an explosion from the terrorists in the first episode, and then he survived the multiple explosions from Butcher's Aunt Judy in her house. So he's been burned multiple times. Black Noir. And yeah, the whole thing with Huey scoring multiple brownie points. I agree with you, Morks. That whole thing with in the hallway where Starlight's like, "Why are you here?" Well, and she goes, basically, it's an unspoken thing that he came to rescue her. And she's like, "Why?" And he goes, he kind of shrugs. So yeah, that was kind of nice. We get a little bit of that in there as well. Kajani says, "Who do y'all think Black Noir is?" I'm thinking he's a clone or son of Stan Edgar. I don't know. Oh, and the biggest fuckery of all, too, is Stormfront and Homelander coming to Rebecca's and basically taking Ryan away from her. The way they do it, I mean, it's not even systematic. It's just they steamroll over her and tell him the truth about where he's living. And that's what the final rejection is. She doesn't get a chance to explain anything. And Homelander just grabs Ryan and takes off. And now Rebecca's on her own, which I was thinking, I was like, well, you should have taken Billy's offer on taking the kid with you and leaving, but you didn't. So, yeah. I don't know if the kid turned a little too quick. Move Finobi, they've been working him pretty good, and we don't know what the time frame was on that. It looked like at least a couple of days. And then also just to find out your entire life is a lie, then you're like, well, is this really my mother or not? And he's essentially what Homelander is doing is essentially the same shit that happened to him in his upbringing. So, Lego white girl movies. Yeah, those Lego movies were lame. Mork says, I also like that finally Frenchie and Kimiko started to get along. Well, yeah, she's finally starting to teach him her sign language, which is her own sign language. So she's the only one who knows about it because her brother's dead now. Yeah. Mork's funny you should say that. So if you watch the Aisha Tyler after show, not right now, you can go later. They do have a little teaser moment. It's only like about 10-15 seconds long. But yes, Rebecca does hunt down Billy next episode. So yes, there we go. Mark says Rebecca will just go back to Billy now. She just went through what Billy went through when he thought he lost her. Yeah. Yep. But the thing is, the other thing too is I just went back and I looked at the Little Butcher 5-minute block, 5-minute episode, I guess you could say, about what happened when he got dropped off by Homelander. And I guess Butcher was an alcoholic before and stopped drinking. And then after Homelander dropped him off, um, he ran into a buddy of his, an old special forces guy, and started drinking again. And that's why we see him in the bar drinking, whiskey and chasing it with beer because he's off the wagon now. I didn't catch that the first time around, but yes, this is what's going on too, is that Billy's going back to drinking again, which might mean a whole shitload of problems later on down the line. Yeah, exactly, Viking Bitch. They showed Ryan that he was living a Truman Show kind of existence there, and yeah, not cool. So Man, lots and lots of stuff. Man, and Kimiko, that was the other thing too. Is at first I thought Kimiko might be having the being able to pop brains or whatever, because she was just sitting there intently staring at the C-SPAN thing and not moving when people's heads were exploding. And so I started thinking that maybe that was her because she was also there when Raynor's head exploded. She was in the van when that happened. So I was kind of like, yeah, maybe she has some of the same powers as her brother, or maybe she's manifesting new ones. We don't know. But then I discounted that completely. Yeah. It was just the way Karen was staring at the screen, the actress, you know. Movie Fanobi says, so with one episode left, they probably won't inject themselves with V yet. No, I'm fairly sure what's going to happen at the very end of the episode is they're going to get their hands on some refined compound V. That's what this is all about, is that Vought was refining compound V so they can make a whole bunch of soups, because that is what Stormfront is trying to do. She is trying to build her army so that, she can have a whole bunch of fascists and superpowered fascists, I guess you can say, even more than what they already have. And yeah, it's, I'm fairly sure it's going to happen at the very end here. Is that the boys are going to get themselves in on some compound V. Oh yeah, I'm disappointed there's only one episode left too. I want, this is one of those shows that I would rather have 23 episodes in a season, not just 8 or 10. But stuff like that goes to crap like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So yeah, this was a great episode. Some good stuff. Yeah, I had to take a little bit of a jab on that one. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., man, I went through that whole thing. I went through all the seasons, and I'm much dumber for it. But yeah, yes, I'm glad Raised by Wolves did not get 23. It got actually 10 too many is really what happened. What could be worse than superpowered fascists? I don't know. One thing that was actually kind of that went through my mind when I was thinking about this is, could you imagine being an actor on this show, The Boys, and you're acting? So you're an actor that's acting in one of the porn shows on The Boys, and you have that in your resume as to, well, I was on The Boys, but I was in one of the porn movies in The Boys. So I was one of the porn actors in The Boys. And I'm like, how fucking shitty is that? You're actually not doing real porn, but you were acting as a porn actor in a TV show. I don't know. Everyone could see your face at that point, you know? And I also thought it was funny too. The Deep wanted to do his own porn. I think he was in one of his own porns, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was in one of them. So yeah. Jessica Black Sails, then I know who you're talking about. The one who played their daughter. Yes, she was in full on nudity pretty much throughout most of Black Sails. That's why when I saw her on The Flash, I was like, oh wow, okay. I've never seen you clothed before. So yeah. I haven't looked Viking Bitch. I really didn't look it up to see if they were porn actors or not. I mean, I do have the IMDb open right now, and they do have them named like porn actor 1, porn actor 2. So it says porn Jack from Jupiter, porn the Deep, porn dude number 1, porn dude number 2, and porn dude number 3 and 4. So, yeah. And one guy, actually, the guy who does porn from the Deep, is got a face pickup. So I don't know. And there's also Maeve's male friend, and Homebanger is up there too. Oh man. Yeah. No, I didn't look. That would have been the first thing I would have done, but I didn't have time. So with that said, what else we got going on this week? Tomorrow is another episode of Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week and any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about, and we talk about it. Sunday is going to be Lovecraft Country, the ever excellent Lovecraft Country. Monday, I'm going to be off. Tuesday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And this time it's going to be Hilary Swank's Away on Netflix. Wednesday, I'm off. And then Thursday, I'm probably going to be doing another episode of Is It Worth My Time? I just don't know what yet. I'll think of something. Take a look at the schedule. It'll be up there. And then Friday will be The Boys, the season finale of The Boys. So yeah, as Penn says, let's get to 1,000 here. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down there. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendifanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule that's up there. And then also all the links to my social media are there. And to this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and my Facebook group page, where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. It's like I've almost said that before, huh? I've said it so often now that I actually say it really, really fast. I don't even think the subtitles can keep up. I haven't actually watched at the time, so we don't know. And that's all drug-free, which is amazing that I can talk that fast and still keep coherent sometimes. Save Cloak and Dagger. Thanks, Movie for Nobody. I know it's your favorite show, man, but damn, that thing's dead. Dead. I'm gonna let you guys go for the night. Thank you to everybody who joined me tonight in the chat, and thank you for those of you who are watching the video here. Yeah, like I said, go and take a look at that after show that's on Amazon. It's actually really funny. It's got some good stuff. I do like that they have a little baby doll in the background. She's got a baby doll in the background that has laser eyes. So near the end of the show, the laser eyes go off and they bring in a fourth guest, a special guest or whatnot. And it's pretty funny. Yeah. 24 episodes of Cloak and Dagger. Holy shit. No. I mean, I know it's your favorite and everything, like those teen angst shows are, but yeah. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you. I will see you again tomorrow for Saturday Morning Blast Off. Until then, let me clear my throat. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may get a little visit from Homelander, and he may take your kid from you after he shows him the sights and whatnot, and that you're a fake parent and whatnot. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, be well, and take care. Good night, everybody.